My husband's family tried to sabotage our wedding, but my grandmother's surprise inheritance saved the day. My story begins, as many dramatic relationship stories do, with a wedding. Or, rather, the lead up to a wedding that threatened to devolve into a full-blown family feud. My husband, Alex, and I had been together for 5 wonderful years, through college and into our early careers. We were madly in love, and our decision to get married felt like the most natural thing in the world. What wasn't natural, however, was the reaction from Alex's side of the family, particularly his mother, Brenda, and his older sister, Tiffany. From the moment we announced our engagement, a subtle, yet increasingly potent, undercurrent of disapproval began to ripple through their interactions with me. I wasn't good enough for Alex in their eyes. I came from a modest background. My parents were loving, but certainly not wealthy. Alex's family, on the other hand, had a long-standing reputation for affluence and a certain aristocratic air. They owned a successful chain of boutique hotels, and wealth had been a cornerstone of their identity for generations. Brenda often made pointed remarks about my career as a freelance graphic designer, implying it wasn't stable or prestigious enough for their family. Tiffany, a corporate lawyer with an impressive pedigree, would frequently bring up her own lavish wedding, subtly highlighting all the things my own modest plans lacked. The tension escalated when we started discussing wedding specifics. Alex and I had always envisioned a relatively intimate wedding, perhaps 100 to 120 guests, held at a charming, rustic barn venue outside the city. It was beautiful, affordable, and perfectly reflected our personalities. Brenda, however, had other ideas. She immediately started pushing for a grand, extravagant affair at one of her family's most exclusive hotels. "Darling," she'd say, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "it's just that a barn wedding. It's simply not us. It's not what people expect from an Alex Hayes wedding." Alex, bless his heart, tried to stand firm. He explained patiently that it was our wedding, and we wanted something that felt authentic to us. But Brenda was relentless. She'd call him daily, sometimes multiple times, laying on the guilt thick. "Your grandmother would be so disappointed," she'd lament, even though Alex's grandmother, a sweet and gentle woman named Eleanor, had always been incredibly supportive of me. Tiffany, of course, was Brenda's loyal lieutenant, reinforcing every argument. Every passive-aggressive jab. Things reached a boiling point when Brenda took it upon herself to book the most expensive ballroom at their flagship hotel, without even consulting us. She presented it as a done deal, complete with a catering menu designed for 300 guests and a price tag that made my head spin. "It's our gift to you," she announced triumphantly, as if she were bestowing a great honor upon us. "All you have to do is show up." Alex was furious. He confronted his mother, explaining that we couldn't accept such an exorbitant gift, especially when it completely disregarded our wishes. Brenda feigned hurt, then became indignant. "After all I've done for you, Alex, is this how you repay me? And you, my name, you're filling his head with these quaint notions. You clearly don't understand what it means to be part of our family." That was the first time she openly attacked me, and it stung. I tried to remain calm, but her words were like daggers. Alex, seeing my distress, finally put his foot down. He told his mother, unequivocally, that we would be having our wedding at the barn venue, with our chosen guest list, and if she couldn't respect that, then perhaps she shouldn't attend. This resulted in a dramatic scene, with Brenda declaring that Alex was choosing that girl over his own family, and Tiffany chiming in about my supposed manipulative nature. For a few weeks, there was an uneasy truce. Brenda and Tiffany acted cold and distant, but they stopped actively sabotaging our plans. Alex and I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking we had finally won. We plunged back into wedding planning, excited to make our rustic barn dream a reality. Then came the financial sabotage. Alex had a modest inheritance from his paternal grandfather, which he had planned to use for part of the wedding expenses and a down payment on a small house. This inheritance was held in a trust managed by his family's financial advisor, who also happened to be a close friend of Brenda's. A few months before the wedding, when Alex went to access some of the funds, he discovered that a significant portion of the inheritance had been reallocated. According to the advisor, Brenda had instructed him to invest a large sum in a long-term, high-yield family investment that would mature in several years. Conveniently after our wedding and well past when we'd need the money for a house, Alex was floored. He knew immediately that this was Brenda's doing, a spiteful act of retaliation. He confronted her, and she feigned innocence, claiming it was a prudent financial decision made for his benefit. "You'll thank me later, darling," she'd cooed. "This little barn wedding will be long forgotten, but this investment will secure your future." Tiffany, of course, backed her mother up, praising Brenda's financial acumen and suggesting that Alex was being irresponsible with his money. This left us in a difficult position. We had already put down deposits for the venue, caterer, and other vendors, based on the assumption that Alex's inheritance would cover a significant portion of the costs. Now, we were scrambling. My parents, though not wealthy, offered to help as much as they could, which brought tears to my eyes. But I knew it would be a strain on them, and I hated the thought of burdening them that I was feeling incredibly disheartened. The joy of wedding planning was being overshadowed by the constant drama and financial stress. Alex was equally stressed, torn between his love for me and his complicated relationship with his family. He tried to reason with his mother, to no avail. She was unyielding, clearly enjoying the power she held over us. One evening, I was talking to my maternal grandmother, who I lovingly called Nana. Nana had always been my rock, a source of unwavering love and wisdom. I hadn't wanted to burden her with the wedding drama, but the stress finally got to me, and I broke down, explaining everything that had happened. Nana listened patiently, her kind eyes filled with sympathy. When I finished, she paused for a moment, then said, "My dear, I think it's time for a little secret to come out." My heart gave a little flutter. Nana was a woman of quiet strength, but she rarely spoke of secrets. She explained that her late husband, my grandfather, had been a very shrewd investor in his younger days. He had quietly invested in a small, then unknown technology company decades ago, a company that had since grown into a massive global conglomerate. He had set up a trust for me, to be revealed upon my marriage, with instructions that it was to be used to help me start my married life on solid footing. He had always believed in me, he'd told Nana, and wanted to ensure I had the freedom to pursue my dreams without financial constraints. The amount, she revealed, was substantial, far more than Alex's reallocated inheritance. It was enough to cover our entire wedding, buy us a beautiful house outright, and still leave a comfortable nest egg for our future. I was stunned, completely overwhelmed with emotion. Tears streamed down my face, but this time they were tears of relief and profound gratitude. Nana's timing couldn't have been more perfect. It felt like a miracle. The next day, Alex and I met with Nana's lawyer, who confirmed everything. The trust was legitimate, liquid, and entirely mine to control. The lawyer, a formidable woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, helped us set up a new bank account and arrange for the funds to be transferred. Armed with this newfound financial freedom, Alex and I felt a renewed sense of empowerment. We immediately contacted our wedding vendors and confirmed everything, paying off balances where we could. We even upgraded a few things we had initially cut due to budget constraints, like adding an open bar and a live band. Small luxuries that suddenly felt within reach. We decided, however, not to tell Brenda or Tiffany about Nana's inheritance. We wanted to keep it a secret, a surprise that would unfold on its own terms. We wanted them to witness our happiness, to see that their attempts to undermine us had utterly failed, without us having to gloat. The day of the wedding arrived, bright and beautiful. The barn venue looked absolutely magical, adorned with fairy lights and wildflowers. My parents were beaming, Alex was breathtakingly handsome, and I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Brenda and Tiffany arrived, looking predictably displeased. They sat in the front row, their faces carefully neutral, but their eyes darting around, clearly assessing and judging every detail. I could almost hear their mental critiques of the rustic decor and the unrefined charm of the setting. During the reception, things got even more interesting. We had hired a fantastic live band, and the dance floor was packed. Alex and I were having the time of our lives, surrounded by our loving friends and family. Brenda, however, seemed determined to cast a pall over the festivities. She approached Alex during a lull in the music, her voice low and tight. "Alex," she hissed, "I simply don't understand how you're affording all this. The food, the band. It's far more elaborate than you could have managed with your limited funds. Have you taken out a loan? Are you going into debt for this charade?" Alex, enjoying himself immensely, simply smiled. "Mother, we are doing just fine. We have everything under control." Brenda narrowed her eyes, clearly unsatisfied. She then turned her attention to me, a predatory glint in her gaze. "And you, my name. You're looking rather pleased with yourself. I trust you haven't convinced my son to squander his future on this spectacle." Before I could respond, Nana, who had been sitting at a nearby table, quietly observing the interaction, rose and walked over to us. She looked directly at Brenda, her gentle eyes suddenly steel-hard. "Brenda," Nana said, her voice clear and resonant, cutting through the background chatter. "There's no need to concern yourself with their finances. My granddaughter is more than capable of handling her own affairs, and she certainly doesn't need to rely on Alex's family for anything." Brenda's jaw dropped. She looked at Nana, then at me, then back at Nana, clearly trying to process what she was hearing. "What are you talking about, Eleanor?" she stammered. Nana simply smiled, a knowing, triumphant smile. "My late husband, God rest his soul, was a very astute man. He left a considerable inheritance for my name. It was always his wish that she would have the financial security to pursue her happiness without interference." A hush fell over the immediate area. People at nearby tables, who had been listening with barely concealed interest, suddenly became very still. Brenda's face went through a rapid series of emotions: confusion, disbelief, dawning horror, and finally, pure, unadulterated rage and inheritance, she sputtered. But that's impossible. She's nothing." "She's my granddaughter," Nana replied, her voice filled with quiet dignity. "And she is everything. This wedding, Brenda, is being paid for entirely by her. So you can rest assured that Alex's limited funds are perfectly intact, and perhaps even growing, thanks to your prudent investment strategy." She delivered the last line with a pointed sweetness that was truly masterful. Brenda's face turned a mottled shade of red. Tiffany, who had also approached, was equally aghast. Their carefully constructed narrative of me as the gold-digging, impoverished outsider had just shattered into a million pieces. The tables had turned, and they were utterly exposed. The rest of the evening was glorious. Brenda and Tiffany, thoroughly humiliated, made their excuses and left early, unable to stomach the sight of our joyful celebration. Their departure was barely noticed, a minor blip in an otherwise perfect day. In the days and weeks that followed, word of Nana's revelation spread like wildfire through the family. The whispers and snide remarks that had once been directed at me were now aimed squarely at Brenda and Tiffany. People started openly questioning Brenda's handling of Alex's trust fund, and the financial advisor who had colluded with her suddenly found himself under scrutiny. Alex's relationship with his mother and sister became even more strained, almost to the point of no return. He realized that their actions had been driven by malice and a desperate need for control, not by any genuine concern for his well-being. He was deeply ashamed of their behavior and incredibly grateful to Nana for stepping in for me. I felt a profound sense of liberation. Nana's inheritance wasn't just money, it was freedom. It meant we could buy our dream home, a charming house with a big garden, just as we had always wanted. It meant Alex could pursue his passion project, something he'd put on hold due to financial uncertainty. And it meant I could continue my graphic design work, knowing that I wasn't financially dependent on anyone, least of all Alex's judgmental family. The true victory, however, wasn't just the financial security. It was the public vindication, the moment Brenda and Tiffany's carefully crafted facade crumbled. It was seeing the genuine love and support from my family and from Alex's true loved ones, who were thrilled for our happiness. Our wedding wasn't just a celebration of our love, it was a defiant statement. A statement that love, integrity, and genuine kindness would always triumph over greed, snobbery, and malicious interference. And it was all thanks to my amazing Nana, and a secret inheritance that saved our wedding and, in many ways, solidified our future.